In the second quarter of this OKC Minnesota game, Alex Caruso found himself guarding Naz Reid right here. He's going to get back down and whoop, he pulls the chair and Naz Reid falls on the floor. That's a crafty veteran move from Caruso, just like sidestepping that little rip through move. And Naz Reid ends up missing the shot. Next possession down the floor. Alex Caruso cuts off Nickeil Alexander Walker. And if there's one trait about Caruso that stands out immediately when you watch him, it's his hands. He has some of the best hands I've ever seen in terms of just like sniping the ball out of midair, ripping ball handlers. Isaiah Joe's going to drain the three. Very next possession, Alex Caruso. Wolves coming down, trying to score here. Caruso just sits in the nail, rips McDaniels, and goes the other way. And these kind of stretches are routine for Caruso, who is truly having one of the best guard defender seasons in a long, long time, and we're going to talk about it. Caruso is one of my favorite players in the league, so likes, comments, subscribes would always be so, so appreciated. And Caruso is just having a special, special defensive season right now. And the way he defends off the ball is just so critical to what the Thunder do on defense. He's going to peel switch here right onto Brandon Clark. His rim protection as a guard is really phenomenal, as we'll get into. Ends up fouling Ja there, I think. But the awareness and the rotations that Caruso makes as an off-ball defender, he just plucks passes out of midair. OKC plays a good amount of zone. They like to mix up teams, especially ones like Orlando who aren't great at shooting. And Caruso kind of pops to the middle of this 2-3. Hartenstein calls it out, right? He's going to sit back. Caruso plays this pass to the middle, ends up getting a steal just because of his incredible instincts and ability to read the game. And his ability to like help and recover is truly absurd. This is a no-look steal. Look at Caruso tapping that ball. Like, he shades here, and most players can't get away with helping this deep off of a player that's literally off the screen. But Caruso has some of the greatest speed and range and fluidity and hand placement as a ground coverage off-ball defender that the league has ever seen, to be perfectly honest. And it shows up, and it allows Caruso to just like break the rules and make plays that very few defenders should be able to do. Guarding this inbound, Caruso's trying to deny the initial action out here. So Keontae's going to pass to Walker Kessler, who's going to pass to Keontae cutting back door. It's a good plan, and it looks like, Caruso's on the top of George. George has a lane, but somehow Caruso gets his hand in there and swipes it to Chet Holmgren. Like, that should not be possible. One, look at how quick he can move and recover and then swipe the ball away. Like, that is a crazy, crazy play. And just in terms of deflections per 40 minutes, 500. He leads the entire league, or at least he's tied with, shout out to Sar Thompson, more deflections per 40 minutes than Dyson Daniels. That's absolutely crazy. Daniels obviously the deflection king just because he plays way more than Caruso, but Caruso is, in terms of getting his hand on the ball, hand-eye coordination, all that good stuff, is truly one of a kind. And we'll talk about Caruso's offense later, because I think that's really, really interesting as well. Guarding Kyrie on the ball here. He will get... This is a miss. I don't know why this clip is here, but anyways, he's going to get beat at the point of attack. Not a perfect on-ball defender. We'll talk about that later. I did not mean to put that clip in that place. But I guess for some reason we're talking about the on-ball defense now. Oh yeah, I did mean to do this. I was going to get to like, if there's one kind of weakness with Caruso's game, it is just like, he's not the greatest on-ball defender in the world. Like, he's pretty good, but he can get backed down by strong players like Desmond Bane. And, at a certain point, tall players can shoot over him and he'll foul at times when he goes for steals. It's just like the nature of a player like that, where late in this game, Jaden McDaniels hits him with the beautiful stutter rip. Gets right by him and goes to the rim. Wasn't able to hold up 1v1 on the ball late in the game right there. But this is kind of like the only real wart you can pick out of Alex Caruso's game, to be perfectly honest. Like, can take risks in terms of the ways he wants to open his hips and can definitely gamble because he's such an incredible recovery guy. And there are even possessions where Caruso will stay in front of someone, and because Trey Murphy is 6'10" or whatever, he can just shoot over Caruso very easily. But Caruso also just like defends a ridiculous amount of players. He's playing 14% of his minutes at center this year, which is the most of his career. It's the first time he's actually ever played center in his career. And on this possession, he starts guarding Giannis, fronts the post, nearly gets a steal, but back onto Giannis. He's going to switch out onto the perimeter to Dame here, guard the pass, and the Bucks end up forcing a tough corner three. He guards both Giannis and Dame on one possession. That's just kind of cool. And Caruso is everywhere on these plays, guarding screens, sticking to defenders. He's such a great screen navigator. That's one of his special things, just not allowing quickly. He has quickly in a fucking box this entire possession, but especially this on-ball rep, right? Look at Caruso. Like most players, this is not a great spot to be in. He's playing really far up. He's not on great balance. Quickly should be able to beat him, but Caruso has the craziest like lateral quickness and agility that, like I said, he can break defensive rules because he is Alex Caruso and he's not built like normal humans. And you can see the way that he can get back in front and recover, where he does initially get, give a little space to screen, but one big step. Look at this gigantic recovery step here from literally outside of the line to almost at the free throw line, and then forces the help. Kaysen's there, Rozier takes a tough shot. Like, his ability to just change directions and open his hips and the move, when he's super locked in, he can be this top tier point of attack defender. But like you said, like I said before, sometimes he just will open up way too early. He'll give him a lane because he does trust his help and because OKC does run a very aggressive defense. But you can see even in a scramble situation like this where Donovan Mitchell has a head of steam against Dort, but Caruso has the awareness to pick up the ball, stop Donovan Mitchell, wait for his help to arrive, and force just a really tough missed shot. So Caruso on the aggregate is an excellent on-ball defender. It's just not a strength compared to his incredible level of off-ball strength. Another great deflection there. This time, OKC loves to double team, and they send a lot of pressure, and Caruso allows them to do this game plan because he can cover 1, 2, and maybe even 3 if he needs to at the same time, right? He's guarding 2 players at once and then comes and swipes down on Kyrie Irving and gets the steal. Just having a guy who with this kind of range and instincts and court awareness really changes the calculus of what you can do. And of course, he can guard the ball, pick and roll on Devin Booker. Gonna get a stop right there. Here's gonna open his hips and guard Ja and force him into a fadeaway. Ja is taking some questionable shots this year, but really good job by Caruso, just funneling him away from the basket, kind of blocking off the paint here with his slide. Just saying, you are not going this way. You are going to go out of the paint. Caruso forces Ja into. That's a makeable shot. He almost makes that. But, hey, that's what you want Ja taking as opposed to getting free throws or at the rim. And Caruso stops in a dime, contests his Anthony Edwards pull-up. So he is a perfectly capable point of attack defender. This is my point. But the special sauce to me with Caruso is really just his rim protection, where Caruso is having an absurd rim protection season where in terms of total points saved rim field goal percentage difference, so how bad basically opponents shoot compared to their average, Caruso's number 1 in the league, 18% right here. Second place is 14%. Jericho Sims, shout out. This is a 500 minimum again. And again, total field goal difference on all contests, he's number 1. Stop rate, which is steals plus offensive fouls drawn plus blocks, he's number 1. Defensive EPM, he's number 1 by a comfortable margin. And if we look at Caruso's other impact metrics, number 1 by a comfortable margin in 3 of these 6. And number 3 all-time in 28-year RAPM, which is just a lifetime metric. And if we look at this, it's a crazy list of Kevin Garnett, Dikembe Mutombo, Rudy Gobert, Alex Caruso right in there as a smaller guard. This is absolutely crazy. The next guard here, who's the next? I guess Tony Allen, right? He was way down this list, but I think the rim protection value that Caruso, and I'll link this website in the description if you want to read about the info here. It's really, really interesting stuff. But Caruso, the help instincts, and because of OKC's injuries, he's had to play a lot more interior defense this year than he ever has before. He's switching on to Şengün and he's defending him in the post. They needed him to play the 4 and the 5 more than he ever has this season because Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein have not been fully healthy, right? Again, he fronts the post on Yabusele, ends up getting a steal. Very few players have the kind of versatility that Caruso does on the defensive end. And you see all the things he does, like rotating down as a low man to take away this lob pass. And he's so fast, right? He can just sprint back and deflect the pass. Like, he really is covering three players at once. He's showing at the ball handler. He has this Walker Kessler in his rear view, and he's jutting out to Colin Sexton. Like, that is crazy. He is absolutely insane as an off-ball defender. And I think, oh man, on a permanent basis, is he the best defender on the Thunder? I think he probably is, honestly. Chet when healthy might be the like objective correct answer, but man, Caruso, like, again, legitimate weak side help rim protector. And this is another example of him enabling an aggressive game plan, right? Jalen Williams is going to come to hard rotate and cut off done, and because Caruso is a good rim protector, he can time up a block on, yes, it's Mason Plumlee. I know it's Mason Plumlee, but still, we see Caruso functioning as a help rim protector, and sometimes he can just get these contests on the ball, like just walling up on a guy like Cam Johnson right there. This is another great example of Caruso just like straight up playing center. He is playing center in the lineup, and the Thunder are playing drop coverage on this. Like, this is the crazy like versatility. Like, normally with a lineup like this, you have J-Dub, Kenrich, like you're switching everything, right? Not the Thunder, right? He's going to guard Wendell Carter. AJ's going to fight over the screen, and Caruso's going to drop back, and he's going to jump off of a back pedal and deflect the shot. Like, it's completely absurd for a player of his size to do, and it's a role like, I believe Caruso was like pretty. Their defense falls off, but it falls off from like historically great to just regular great when Caruso plays center this year. It's crazy. And Caruso loves to just like lurk around the nail. Even though Beal's gonna score here, like, Caruso gets away with this because of his crazy ground coverage. And, you know, sometimes he flies a little too close to the sun. Like, you know, he sees what's happening here immediately, jumps back and gets in there. But, you know, Jonathan Kuminga's too athletic. Draymond Green beats him right there to the spot. Like, when you play defense the way that Alex Caruso plays defense, you're gonna give up some buckets. But look at Caruso off the screen, beyond half court, when the ball is at the free throw line, and you never guess who's going to end up contesting the shot. Like, the motor, the energy to get all the way over there. Caruso is a total madman on defense, and I don't know. Like, somehow I think more needs to be said of what he's doing this year on that end, because he's not going to get an all defense team. He doesn't play enough minutes, and he's missed a decent amount of games. But Caruso truly a one-of-one defensive season from a guard, both, you know, on the ball in ways and off the ball. And one more, just him rear view blocking Duncan Robinson. Such a talented off-ball chaser. He defends screens, he defends the ball, he's a rim protector, he's a weak side helper. Like, truly phenomenal. But maybe the more interesting side is his offense, because that's been the shakier side this year. He had a really rough start shooting, but what's great to me about Caruso is he is one of the best connective passers in the entire league. And just like defense, he does everything on offense. He sets the screen, a little split cut here that gives space to Caruso. And instead of either shooting or driving into this big space, he sees, hey, Kaysen Wallace is fronting Brandon Pajemski here. But at the freeze frame, there doesn't seem like there's an advantage. But Caruso is anticipating where Kaysen's going to go, gets in there, and finishes. So he's a brilliant, brilliant playmaker, and obviously isn't like the creator to fully unlock and be an elite passer, but as like a one pass away guy or an off-ball attacker, and this is such a common place for him on the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander team. Look at how Amen Thompson's guarding him. And even though at this point in the season, Caruso was only shooting like 20% from three, he's still so good that he can draw a closeout. Like, I don't know why Tari jumped at him, to be perfectly honest. Bounce pass down to Hartenstein, and he's going to dunk the ball right there. So his processing on defense is translating to the offensive end. He can do some stuff, you know, off of the drive, hitting Hartenstein on a little laydown pass there. Like, he's not a non-threat. Like, he can dribble, he can create just like a little bit, but he is best passing as a connector. Or in this case, Wolves are playing zone. Rob Dillingham is guarding two people at once. Caruso knows this. Dillingham chooses, and Caruso whips it down to J-Dub for the layup. So it's just the reactive playmaking, picking apart a defense that's already gapped, that already has made some mistakes, is what makes Caruso really special. as a playmaker. And again, this like out of structure playmaking too is great. The Thunder are just running their base offense, pin down here for Isaiah Joe, and then a pin down here for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Caruso very quickly, or it was gonna be pistol, but then they don't do pistol; they flow into the pin. But Caruso notices that Keon Johnson is top blocking. He's not letting Shea get this space. So Caruso is like, I'm just going to throw it into the middle of the floor, and Shea's going to go get it and finish and score. Like, that wasn't the play, but Caruso and Gilgeous-Alexander, credit to him, of course, to, just communicating that. We're able to work together and make that work. He's a phenomenal short roll passer. I think outside of his shot going in, which is obviously just an important thing, for his playoff viability on offense, which is the important thing, Caruso's short roll game is going to be so important because I do think he's probably the best option outside of Hartenstein as a release valve on this team because he can dribble in traffic, make decisions, manipulate the defense as a short roll playmaker. Like, there aren't many situations in the NBA better for short roll passers than Oklahoma City, right? And Caruso is so good and drives and dunks it right there. Scoring consistently on the short roll is his current issue. He's not a super efficient player, like not a great finisher, and has no intermediate game, but the quick decision passing, and you can see him like press breaking here and scooping it in and finishing right there. But the scoring on the short roll, because what teams will do to Caruso is they'll pretty much just like back off of him. And this is an example where he's just setting a much higher ball screen, running a pick and pop, right? But the Jazz don't really go to him. They don't send any resources because they know Caruso is not a great finisher, and they trust Walker Kessler to be able to just guard him at the rim. We're going to see a similar example. This time the Nets send two bodies at J-Dub, giving Caruso a numbers advantage, and they just back up. Day'Ron backs up to Chet. He's like, you are not throwing this lob pass, and Caruso fails to score over Sharp. Chet obviously gets the rebound, but point being, Caruso's issues as a scorer definitely pop up, right? And sometimes he can make these really tough shots, but these are tough shots, even the ones that go in, and it's hard to rely on those in the playoffs against great defenses. And then, of course, with Caruso, it's just like, is the shot going to fall when he's open? And can he do, basic driving stuff? That's what Caruso does off the ball. And he's an amazing cutter himself, which we haven't, talked much about. Like, his feel for just, scoring off of Shea's gravity is crazy, right? Running a basic little, flare slip here where he's kind of setting a flare for Chet, then slips. And because Shea beats Jaden, Anthony Edwards steps up into the middle. Shea, great pass by Shea, who's leveling up as a passer this year, and Caruso sits in that gap. So perfectly complements the stars, but the shooting, right? And I think he's shooting 44% from threes in 2025. He just needs to do this stuff, right? Don't let defenses go all the way under and sag off of you, or shoot catch and shoots in the corner, right? Be a pick and pop threat as well. Like I said, Chet Holmgren on the floor, Caruso in the pick and pop right here, and he's gonna score. And just hitting shots when you're open. This is a good example of Caruso making a shot against the zone. Teams will zone the Thunder just to stop Shea, and they have to be able to beat it to beat these great teams. But regardless of the playoff viability, Caruso's having a special season on the defensive end, and his offense is also one of my favorite to watch in the entire league from the role player perspective. Special off-ball, rim-protecting guard defender, and just a brilliant offensive player. So let me know what you think about Caruso and how far you think the Thunder are going to go. I think however far they end up going, Caruso is going to be a huge, huge piece in that, assuming he stays healthy, and I really hope he does.